Hey, what's up guys? Xavki here. Welcome in a new Kubernetes tutorial. Don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel to not miss the next video. And don't forget to like and comment this one to support me. Today we'll discover why to use multi-container pods and how to create it. And you'll see it's very simple, of course, to create a multi-container pod. We'll do that in the second part of this tutorial, but the most important thing about multi-container pods is to know or to have in your mind some use cases. And with that, you know when you need to implement it, of course. So now let's get started. Multi-container pods have three patterns or general use cases. Warning, if you already know Kubernetes, we don't take care about init or stop containers or stuff like that. The first part of the first pattern and the most used when we talk about multi-containers is the sidecar. But the term is abused. We use it to cover other patterns like ambassador. The second one is the adapter. We'll see what it is just after. And the third one is the ambassador. You can find a blog post if you want more details. This blog post was published in 2015 about these use cases in the Kubernetes blog. So the first is the sidecar. We already talked about this example in a previous video. The idea behind the sidecar is to extend abilities of a container or a process. For example, if you have an Nginx reverse proxy and you want to send its logs into a centralization log storage, like for example Elasticsearch, you want to have a process with a container which shares the same volumes with the Nginx controller to share the varlog Nginx access logs. In this example, for example, it is a FluentBit. Then the FluentBit can send logs to the Elasticsearch, and we don't need to change anything in the main container. So this is a good example because you can see that we just use the Kubernetes capacity to mount a share volume between two containers to do that. Now another pattern is the adapter. The adapter allows you to transform data provided by the main container. For example, it can be useful to normalize your monitoring without changes in the first container. So you can change or, for example, filter your data to aggregate data, for example, to send it to an external database, for example. And finally, the ambassador pattern. This is where people use the sidecar term instead of the ambassador pattern. For example, you can use it to have an end-to-end encryption into your infrastructure. For that, you can install a proxy next to your main application and serve the TLS certificate through your proxy. And you don't need to make any change after that. So now let's go, we can make a little demo to check that. So in my terminal, I have a Kubernetes cluster with kubectl get pod. I can check if we have some pods. So we don't have any pods. And now I can just take an example. For example, I have three pod manifest here. The one, this is a really simple pod. For example, we can take it and copy and paste this manifest. We can check each line about it. For example, here, this is a one file.yml, really simple. And we add it. Of course, we have the API version. The kind of the manifest is pod. So of course we want to have a pod, and the metadata, so this is the name of our pod, is just Nginx with downloader, and the specifications of this pod is have a big part for our containers. We have two containers. The first is named downloader, and the second is named Nginx. So we can consider that Nginx is the main process. So this is our web server, and we just want to share a volume in the Nginx on the USR share Nginx HTML because we want to change the index and HTML default page. So to do that, it's really simple. We declare the Nginx container, and into it we just want to mount a volume. This volume has a name, the shared data name, and a specific path into this container specifically. So the mount path is USR share Nginx HTML. To use a volume and a share volume between the two containers, we need to declare a volume in volumes. So be careful to the indentation. Here we have just one tab. We are at the same level of containers. So this is where we can declare a volume, and we have only one volume named shared data, like in the volume mount. This is an empty dir, we'll see it in next video. And this volume, we want to mount it in the second container named downloader. What we have in the downloader, we have an image with a light image container named BuzzyBox, and we use a command, a specific command, to run a shell, and a shell command with a sleep for 30 seconds, and after that, after 30 seconds, we just run a wget, and we download a specific index HTML page stored on the GitHub usercontent.com. So this is just a snippet, and after that we have an output, and we want to store this file into USR share Nginx HTML slash index.html. And of course, we want to mount the same volume at the same location, because we use the same path directory here, and we use the same volume because we want to share it. So the volume is shared data, and the mount path is exactly the same because we use the same data path here. So now we can just run a kubectl apply. Remember this command line, so you can check it in the previous video. And we run an apply about this manifest. So we can run kubectl get pod, and now we have a new pod named Nginx with downloader. So you can check in ready here, we have 0/2, so that means we have two containers into our pod. The status is container creating, because Kubernetes needs to pull two images, and now we have an error. Yes, maybe this is due to the first container, I think. Yes. So now we can just check if we have our IP for our pod. So this is not really an error, because the first container is completed. So the pod just failed due to that, but the main container, the Nginx, run. So we can just copy the IP of this pod, and if we run the curl on it, we have, of course, a specific index.html response. So it's cool. That works. Maybe if you want, and if you want to do a test, you can kubectl delete our pod. So I don't remember the name of the pod, so I can just kubectl get pod, and kubectl get pod, and kubectl delete pod, and I want to delete this one, and we can just make a test. And to do that, I want to run again an apply here, And so we have 30 seconds to test that we don't have an index.html page. So I just make quickly and curl and hit here, and we have a forbidden, because by default Nginx responds a 403 response. So to say this is a forbidden path, because if we don't have any index.html page, so this is our case when we are under 30 seconds, and of course we have this response because we don't have any index.html page. And just after 30 seconds, if we run again, the first container run its wget to download the index.html page. We can make another example if you want. You can just take the 3 example. You can download all code in the video description. You have the link to the repository, GitLab repository. So now I create a second file for our second manifest. What we do a little change. So we use the same container. So I need to delete, of course. Oh no, I don't need to delete the container. So yes, I prefer to delete the container. So kubectl so delete. Click here, okay. And now what we have into this new pod, here we have of course the pod, the name of the pod, and our 2 containers. The first container is here is updater with a basic box again, but we change the command. So we run a shell again, but into the shell we want to do a while true, you can see here, and we want to increment the e variable with our bash script, and do an echo about echo on a variable, an environment variable. So we have one echo here. We can remove this one. Yes. I can remove this one. Don't need to have 2 echo. So we have the variable, the environment variable here, and a counter when we just want to show the value about the e variable, and we push the content of this echo into our index.html page, and we just want to sleep 1 second before to increment again our e variable. Aside of it, we set an environment variable. You can see here how we can do it, but we'll see it later in when we discover the config map or stuff like that. And we set the environment variable, and we want to set it, for example, to production. It's just an example to show you how we can do that. And we mount the path exactly like the previous example, and in our Nginx exactly the same thing. And we, of course, we have the same thing to declare our volume, our shared data volume. So I can just register that, and after to save my file, I just want to run kubectl apply -f and my new file. And if I kubectl get pod again here, so we have a status running and no error, because the first container run again and again and again, because we use a loop, a while true loop, and of course this is never completed. So now we want to have the IP of the pod. So yes, this is my alias kgetpod kgp, and we can run get pod like here, and now we have the IP, and of course I can make a curl. Now we have a counter set to 41, and the environment variable here show us that we are in production. If I curl again, of course, we increment the counter each second, and that run again. So that's it for today. Thank you for following this video, and see you in the next one. Remember, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel, like and comment this video, and I say to you goodbye.